head coach who feels like he is under subpoena and has to be honest all the time. Like, that was awful. And I hope Mitchell Trubisky didn't hear that quote because it just made him worse. Like, I don't understand the point of that. I'll say it again. Before you sit down to do an interview, all head coaches, all CEOs, all leaders of any kind, everyone is going to listen to your words very carefully, and they mean quite a bit. Before you sit down and you're going to say something, ask yourself, what am I accomplishing by saying this? The goal is not to answer the question. The goal is to forward the agenda that you want to forward. He has accomplished nothing but make us look at this situation and be quite confused. What are you accomplishing by doing that other than making Mitchell Trubisky a worse quarterback than he was before you said it?
D. Wood, who should he go with? If both guys are able to play based on injury, who should their quarterback be?
Granted, I mean, you put me in a damn hard position here, but I'm going to go with Mitchell Trubisky. And listen, and the sole reason, honestly, is because we know the one thing that's been wrong with the Bears' offense is their offensive line. The offensive line has been ravaged with injuries, and they're terrible. But the one thing that Mitchell Trubisky can do well is he can move around and maneuver around the pocket, outside the pocket, so he does bring a different element to that offense that Nick Foles just can't bring.
It's correct. It is an element to the offense the head coach has never shown any interest in wanting to utilize, but it is something that he did well enough to make him a Pro Bowl quarterback and to take his team to the playoffs just a couple of years ago. Meanwhile, Bart Scott, you had a different idea of someone they should be thinking about at quarterback.
Well, in the future, but right now, to say that, Mitchell Trubisky has used his time to get better is not a ringing endorsement. That's just saying he went from horrible to bad. That doesn't mean that he's still a starting quality quarterback in this league. But I think next year they should really consider, trying to trade for Sam Darnold, getting a young quarterback that they can try and fit into their system. We know that if the Jets get the #1 overall pick, they may be moving on, and Sam may have value. We'll see what Sam is capable of these last 6 games with his weapons now. But I think they're going to have to turn the page, and you don't want to have to pick up anybody's option. Sam Darnold is a young quarterback that you feel can still have a bright future in this league. It just may not be with his current team.
Now, I'm with you on that, and you know that I'm a big believer in Darnold. But, Dominique, very seldom does a coach get brought in to develop a specific player, fail to develop that player, and then get to coach the next one. You know what I mean? Like, that feels to me like it's going to be the big question there in Chicago.
It feels like that you often get kind of paired with your quarterback. We're talking about it in Philly. It's always the situation. That's why it's such a big decision when you draft a quarterback. We saw Arizona was the quickest situation where a quarterback and coach were run out of there when Rosen didn't pan out. So it happens quite quickly. I'm not sure that Matt Nagy is going to be able to stick around. If they move on from those quarterbacks, they might also move on from that coach, especially since it seems like he can't get the best out of the guys that they have there.
Yep, it's going to be, again, he comes in there as an offensive guru when they've drafted the young quarterback, and his job is to develop him. And all he seems to want to do is get him off the field. Really quick, Bart, why are you shaking your head?
Well, I don't think that Nagy's going to hang around. I think you have to make that move and make that decision. But because they're so cash strapped, you're not going to get a quarterback that may change your franchise around that year. So you have to